This is breaking news.
Good afternoon, I'm Dan Rice, live in Chopper 2. You're looking down at the J Line in Jamaica, Queens, where this train a short time ago became disabled. It is filled with passengers, and you can see there are personnel on the scene trying to assist not only the people on the train, but trying to figure out what the mechanical problem is with this train that has left it here stuck on the tracks. Now, the location of the train at this point is at 130th Street at Jamaica Avenue, and you can see the personnel on the train there by the open doors. We see the FDNY with their ladder extended up to the tracks over here. And we can tell you that we did see a person who appeared to be with the MTA be brought up by this tower ladder and went over the rail there and started looking at components on the train. And you see the other people now up here on the tracks inspecting the train to see if they can figure out what has led this train to become disabled and stuck in its place here. As we move the camera here from right to left, what you're going to notice if you look in the windows, there are passengers still inside that train. Of course, for their safety, they'll keep them inside the train. If they're able to get it moving again, that'll be good news for them. If not, more than likely what they've done in the past, the MTA will bring another train up to the area and they will transfer passengers safely from one train to the operating train. But because of all this activity, if you are using the subway lines, the J Line, no service right now between Crescent and Jamaica Center, and you can see the crew still going along the tracks there with the subway. Now, that train you do see going through your video, that's an LIRR train. That's a entirely separate system. That's why that train is still operating over there. We did see one train going the other direction there, so it's not clear if the Queensbound trains are running here, but you can see this is an 8-train or an 8-car train. So they are going from train to train, just doing their inspections, trying to see which car has the problem or if they can identify the situation. But again, at this point, we are not hearing of any problems with the people on the train. Of course, obviously the biggest condition right now is trying to keep them comfortable as best they can. We'll come back in here and you can see, looks like the engineer for the train standing there by the door. We've been seeing him work with the people that have been coming up onto the tracks. We'll come back down here. We go to the second car on this train. We have seen people standing inside or in that open breezeway that goes between the two trains. We have seen people by the doors. We're not going to zoom in too tight there, but you can see people just looking outside, trying to see what kind of relief they're going to get with the situation over here. Again, we can't tell you specifically what the problem is. All that's being reported to us right now is that there is a mechanical problem with the train. And we look down here on the street level, and you can see the FDNY has responded. Of course, we've been showing you that one truck with the tower ladder extended, and we see more personnel down here on the street side. That's Jamaica Avenue coming out from the right side of your screen down towards the bottom left. 130th coming from the middle left towards the center of your screen. That's where they're staging outside, down on the ground level. And again, like I said, we did see using this tower ladder, one of the MTA people being brought up to track level. This is an elevated track. It looks like it comes out from underground over by Jamaica Station. As a matter of fact, let's bring the camera back out all the way to give you an idea exactly where this train is. I'm going to bring the camera over here to my left. We'll go over the Van Wyck Expressway, and what you'll see is Jamaica Station over here coming into the left side of your screen. Obviously a major transportation hub over here, and of course just down the street is Jamaica Center where the subway entrances are. So that kind of gives you an idea of where this train became disabled once it came out from around the Van Wyck and up over here, making that turn over towards Jamaica. It's on that turn over here that it became disabled. And of course we see the crews down there now trying to assist the people up here trackside, trying to get the train underway hopefully, or if not, like I said, they're going to have to transfer those people. A little difficult because if you notice, this is a single track here. We know there are many areas where they have double tracks and they can cross easily, but it looks like there is a gap between the one side of the tracks to the other. Now let me bring the camera back down here. We'll look together and see as we come back down here before it comes up on the rise if there's a spot that if they do have to bring in a rescue train, they can hopefully be able to transfer the passengers from one track to another. But again, it's a very narrow area, so we'll have to wait and see what they're going to do. We're no word yet on what the plan is. But again, if you are just joining us, this is an 8-car train on the J Line, on the New York City subways there, the MTA subways. It became disabled a short time ago as it was leaving the Jamaica Center area heading towards Manhattan. And as you can see, that train frozen in its tracks. No word exactly as to what the condition is with the train, what caused the mechanical problem, or what the actual situation is there, but that train is stuck in place. It does have passengers on board, but again, at this point, we do not have any word of any difficulties on the train. It sounds like everybody is just waiting to find out what the MTA is going to be able to do to be able to get them either onto another train or to be able to get this train moving again. If you do use MTA subways, the J line, that is suspended right now between Crescent and Jamaica Center. And you can see this is the reason why. It's a very narrow section of track. So we'll just have to wait and see what they're going to do as far as getting that train out of there or being able to get relief to the people who are on the trains, or the cars, I should say. And we'll come back down and see. Now you have the FDNY going trackside. We see the folks in their safety vests. Those are employees of the MTA who are out there trying to assess the train. And now we'll see a couple more of the firefighters come out of the bucket and over onto the track side. And obviously they'll be there to assist with whatever they can. And we'll just take another look down the tracks here. And again, it's a little hard to tell if those are passengers standing there in the breezeway or if that's one of the MTA employees. That appears to be one of the MTA employees standing there in between the trains. Of course, what they need to do is try to keep everybody inside those trains for their safety. Of course, you have power that runs through many of the the components up there that give the power, electricity to the trains to be able to move. So even though it is more than likely off at this point, you still don't want people walking around those tracks. So that's why they'll keep everybody inside the subway cars as they assess the situation. And again, that train that you do see running, that is LIRR, a completely different system from the subway system. So those trains are not affected by the situation down here. And again, if worse comes to worse, they'll have to walk people back on the tracks once they can confirm that all the power is off, if they can't get another train through there. But again, we are waiting for official word from the MTA as to what their plan is with the folks on those trains back over there in Jamaica. And we can see nothing in sight on that side of the track, so we'll come back this way to make sure no other trains are coming the other way. And like I said, if this is going to be in an area right above 130th Street, right off of Jamaica Avenue. And now we see the firefighters are inside the first car. And again, it looks like they'll do a little inspection of the car and take a look and make sure there's nothing that they can do to assist. And we'll keep looking through here, and you can see now if you look in the windows there are people moving around in those trains. We can see people sitting by the windows. We've seen people gathered by the doors. There you can see somebody standing in the window there. So each one of these cars, as we go down the train, does seem to have people on board. We do not have an exact count on how many people may be on this entire train. But again, each one of these cars, other than the first car, seems to have passengers on board. And of course, as we go what they would say is below grade, you go below the surface there or below the LIRR tracks, they're a little hard to see. You can't really see inside what we'll call the back 2 or 3 cars. And we have seen some of the MTA personnel over on the side back there. And I'll tell you what, we'll ask our pilot if maybe we can do one circle around the train, and we'll see what the conditions are around that train. So bear with us as the helicopter will take a little move around, and we'll give you a little different angle on how it looks over there as far as trying to get other trains in the area here and to see if they can somehow get people off the train. And we'll come back around, and as we were talking about before, you'll see as we come by the back side over here where we're zooming in on, the tracks do seem to come together somewhat there. So if they did have to get another train next to this one, they may possibly have the chance. Oh yeah, you can see there that they would have a platform to work with back here. We'll come back around a little bit more there, and we'll take a look as we go up this way. And what you'll see as we continue to follow that train up, and we see more people in the windows on the train there, you're going to see a separation between the two sides of tracks. It's hard to tell if there's a gap or not. It looks like right about here where the green railing starts, that's where your gap is. You can see more people in those windows there as well. So we'll thank our pilot for that move, and we'll try to come back and show you where everybody was before. And it looks like as we did that one little circle, you can see that the ladder has been dropped on the truck down there on 130th. So not clear if they're going to bring more firefighters up or not. It looks like they may be trying to get a couple more firefighters up to the train. You have two more that are securing themselves inside that tower ladder, and it's starting to raise itself now, or they're raising it clearly. So they'll extend the ladder and put a few more firefighters up there. And of course, we'll zoom back in and see as they bring the ladder level with the train tracks. And they'll climb back over the rail and join the other firefighters who are on the scene with the MTA. And again, the big concern right now will be for the safety of the passengers. That's why they'll bring the firefighters up there, make sure everybody's doing okay. Luckily, it's kind of a cooler day out. Not like a hot, sweltering day you would see in the summertime, so hopefully the passengers are able to stay somewhat comfortable up there. But right now, there have been no reports of any issues with the passengers that are stuck on this disabled train. And again, if you are just joining us, you're looking at Jamaica Queens. This is an MTA J train, subway train, that has become stuck in its path here. It's an 8-car train. Looks like it was heading towards Manhattan. I just crossed over the Van Wyck, came to a stop right over 130th in Jamaica. No word yet on what the cause of the disablement of the disabled train is here, why it's disabled. But again, we can tell you there are people that are still on at least the last 7 cars of this train. 7 of the 8 cars do have passengers on it. And we have seen numerous people from the MTA walking alongside the train. We saw one person being brought from street level using that tower ladder up to train level, trying to assess the situation there. And a little hard to see with those walls if they're focusing on one particular car, but we had seen them walking around before. And again, you can kind of see through the windows there as we look down the train, and we have seen people sitting, standing by the doors, but again, it seems just from the outside relatively calm inside. So that's the good news there. Yeah, we'll just come back, and you're going to see that reflection going off of it again. That's an LIRR train that goes by every so often, and that is a separate system from the subway system, though both are operated by the MTA. LIRR trains not affected by the disabled train, but again, if you do use the J line, there is no service right now between Crescent and Jamaica Center because of this disabled train. And again, the two problems they have to figure out here is 1, how to take care of the passengers, and 2, how to get the train running again. And we'll keep an eye on that. Now, like I said, we have seen in the past that they have brought in what they call relief trains, a rescue train. And as we saw before when we did that one circle, there is a spot where they could pull another train up next to this one. Back here by the back end, we saw there's a platform between the 2 tracks. And once they know they have the power off completely, they could safely transfer passengers from one subway train to the other. So that is one possibility that could be taking place here at some point. But we'll have to keep an eye out and see. And we're waiting word from the MTA as to what their plan is here. And of course, if they're able to figure out what's causing the train to be stuck and be able to get it back into service, they could bring the train to the next station if they have to. And that would take care of that as well. But again, that's what they're trying to figure out at this point. And we'll zoom back in, and we can see that person standing in the door to the left side. That is one of the personnel that was on the train when it became disabled. It's a conductor or an engineer, I'm not quite clear, but that person was on the train. And it appears if there were passengers on this first car, they have removed them all. The second car, it does seem to be filled with a few more people than the other cars that we've been able to look at are filled with. And you can see the curious passengers looking out the windows, looking out the doors. They seem to have their attention down street side, seeing what the FDNY is doing. Of course, down here on 130th, that's where they're set up. You see that's Jamaica Avenue right there. And you have the 3 fire trucks down there with the FDNY staged over here. And again, if you are just joining us, to give you an idea of where we are in Queens, we'll give you the bigger picture here, and I'll just pull the camera over here to the left. You follow the tracks, you'll see they go over the Van Wyck Expressway. And you see that numerous trains, actually, not just LARR moving around there. And, of course, that's the very busy Jamaica Station. Multiple forms of transit go in and out of there, and not far from there is Jamaica Center, where the subway entrances are. So kind of gives you a rough idea where we're looking at here in Queens. Again, this train did not get very far from the Van Wyck when it came stuck where you see where it's sitting. No visible damage to the train that you're able to see from the air anyway. And when one person did get brought up here by the FDNY, we did see them looking at the different components underneath that train, down by where the wheels are. You see different components underneath that door frame there. So they are doing a close inspection on the train to try to figure out why it is stuck where it's stuck. And again, we look down in here and we see a couple of people just trying to hang out in the breezeway, getting some fresh air as they wait for help. And again, for their safety, it's better for them to be inside that train. With all the mechanisms outside the train and the way these trains get power, even though it is more than likely off at this point, you don't want anybody getting hurt even further if they were to get off that train and come into contact with something. So for their safety, it's better to keep them inside that train, no matter if it's comfortable or not. And again, what we'll wait for is to see if they bring another train in, or they're able to get this 8-car train moving anytime soon. Again, all this taking place within the last hour. And we'll push back in with the camera here, and again, we see those two firefighters. We had seen 3 other firefighters who were on this ladder before, who had gotten off, and we know they're on the train. We saw them walking through the first car, going towards the second car. And they brought 2 more firefighters up to the train level, just in case they're needed. And again, we can see inside, and sure, there's a little bit of tension for some, and others just waiting for an answer. You see people sitting there, and again, everything from the outside looking in looks like it's relatively calm. As we bring the camera around, and we'll keep going down the train a little bit here, and as we go from car to car, pretty much the same scene that you'll see each time. Some people standing, some people sitting, some people looking outside, like you see in the left side of that door there, looking down towards the street, trying to figure out what's going on, and with the FDNY, what they're doing to help. And of course, we had seen MTA workers walking on the outside of the train. As a matter of fact, if you look close enough inside the window, you can see the 3 firefighters we had referenced before walking through the train. So it appears they have gone from car to car, making sure everybody is okay and no one needs assistance in any way. And you can see now they're making their way back towards what we'll call the front of the car, where the the front of the train, where the empty car is sitting. And we can see that these people are going from the cars, and they'll probably make their way back to the tower ladder. And so what we'll do here, folks, for you is we'll try to hang out with you for about another 10 minutes or so, about 10 minutes. And we'll keep an eye on what's going on down here, and then we'll go reset ourselves for the evening show. Hopefully in the next 5 or 10 minutes, we'll be able to show you if they're going to remove people from the train or get the train going. But as we get more information, we'll bring it to you, of course. But in the meantime, we'll keep an eye on the situation here as we know it, as we see it. And you can see those firefighters now have made their way back to the first car. And obviously, they've done their assessment now of the passengers on board the train. That would be the primary function for the FDNY at this point, is the passenger safety, making sure everybody is doing okay inside those cars. And like I said, we saw the MTA people doing their assessment of the train, trying to figure out what the situation is with that train. Just trying to keep an eye out my window, making sure there's not another train coming up behind this one. Thought I saw something, but I believe that's going to be an LA. Yep, that's an LARR train coming into the scene. And again, like I said, one of the options that they could have with this train is to bring in another subway train to be able to offload the passengers onto, but we have not seen that yet. Again, we'll wait for word from the MTA as to whether they are bringing another train in or are able to get this particular train moving. Again, like I said, just keep in mind those LIRR trains run on an entirely different system than the subway trains, so that's why they're still moving through the area on their own tracks. And right now we still see the one worker standing here in front of the train. Okay. We'll thank Wanda Prizanzano on our desk there. Wanda just telling me that the MTA is letting the CBS newsroom know that there is a rescue train that is being sent to this one. So what they'll do is they'll bring in that train and they will bring it up to this one and they'll offload all the passengers onto the rescue train. No timetable on that yet, but we do now know that there will be a rescue train being brought in to offload the passengers from the disabled train. So we'll hopefully see that before we have to leave and reset for the 5 o'clock newscast. In the meantime, you see the firefighters just hanging out in the first train there now that they have done their assessment using hand signals. I kind of get the impression just by looking at the body language down there that when they bring this train in, it'll probably come to the front of this train if those hand gestures are indicating anything. And you see one of the MTA workers standing over here by that signal, now walking back up. But again, no confirmation on where the train is coming from. All we can tell you right now is that there will be a rescue train being sent down the tracks here to assist with the disabled train. We can look a little ways down the track to see if we see any movement. Of course, you see down the line, that's up by Crescent. That's where service has been suspended. So from Crescent all the way back to Jamaica Center, that's where the trains have stopped running, it appears. Though we do see this one train sitting over here. And you can see right there, there's an area that they could cross the train tracks. So if they had to, they could bring that train from that station, use the cross right there, and then bring it in and bring it right next to the disabled train and try to move the passengers. Of course, we'll just wait and see how they want to do that. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, folks. As we know the train will be coming and what have you, we're going to leave you at this point. And we'll try to go take care of it, the fuel for the helicopter, come back and continue our coverage. So for now, like I said, you're looking down Jamaica, Queens, where a train is disabled on the J line. Passengers are on board. They are going to bring a rescue train in. And of course, we'll keep you covered when we come back. And of course, more on this on the CBS 2 News at 5. For now, I'm Dan Rice reporting live in Chopper 2.
This has been breaking news.